My guest today is a real estate broker, an actor, podcaster, and father of two. Married in his late 40s, he separated from his wife after 9 years as he was coming to grips with the fact that he is gay. Still married, but living independently as an out and proud gay man, he sells high-end real estate and is working on a one-man show about his life. Joining us from Los Angeles is John Duerler. Hi, John. Welcome to the show today.
David, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you spending time with us.
Sure.
You have an interesting story, but I want to go back to the beginning. When did you first start feeling that same-sex attraction?
It had to be probably when my older brother would bring me into the football field house after practice. And, my brother was a wonderful brother. He was more like a father. He was older than me. My father had already left. And he taught me how to fish, how to hunt, how to drive. He did everything. But he kept me close. He was always looking out for me. And I would always go to his practices. And, I'd walk in the field house with him. And then there they are, all the guys going into the showers. And I'm like, wait, what? No, what am I doing?
So how old were you then? What was your age?
I was probably, I was in either fifth or sixth grade. I can't remember when that was. And I think that's when I've just first noticed, but there was nothing, I never felt anything or wanted to, I just noticed beauty.
So you dated women then through high school?
Oh, yeah.
After high school?
Yeah. In
your 20s and 30s as well? Dated women all the time?
Yeah. Dated women all the time. And then, but where I grew up in Southeast Texas. And if you were gay, you didn't last, or you got your ass kicked, or you got beaten. I mean, it was not a good place to be. I think there was a fear, a subconscious fear, maybe. But as I just laid out, I was dating women the whole time.
So when you had this subconscious fear, during that time, did it ever crop up like, I kind of like looking at the guys again, and maybe I'd be interested in them?
Back then, we all know there's good-looking men, there's good-looking women. Mm-hmm. We're always attracted to them. I mean, that's what Hollywood is built on. Mm-hmm. So I could appreciate that. I appreciated a handsome man, just like a handsome woman.
So you go through life dating women then, and you meet the woman that you married eventually.
Absolutely.
Did you ever express to her before you were married or after you got married?
That's a good question. And I think when we were living together, I think I shared with her that experience with myself and when I was a junior in high school. So I don't think she thought much of it, but I'm surprised. You know what? This is so interesting that you bring it up, because she is a litigator and she goes right in to find out everything. So the question could be, did she already know? I mean, when you're about to marry somebody, they say that they were with someone, of the same sex, do you question it? And she questions everything, but she didn't question that.
If you don't mind, John, I'd like to hear about the unique relationship you have with your wife now. I understand that you've been out for some while and you're an out gay man, but you're still married to her.
Yeah, legally married, but we're not living in the same house. We don't sleep together, live together at all. Just work. And I structured it when I moved out of the house to make sure that I was maybe a mile and a half from my boys. So, we were living separate lives, separate bedrooms, but then we got so much counseling. We had years and years of counseling as well. And at first I thought maybe I was bisexual. Because I had been with so many women. But was that a mask? Was that something I was putting, was that something I was just trying to compensate for? And again, there was a lot of therapy, and I came to the realization that I'm not bisexual. I'm a gay man. And I think, that was part of the coming out and really accepting who I was by giving myself little breaks, saying, oh, well, you dated women. Oh, you're bi, no. And then that's the whole thing about this, is being true to yourself. And I had to be true to myself. So I ended up moved down about 1.5 miles from the boys. And, it's like a triangle of where our office is and then both houses. So it's very convenient. And we told the boys, that we still love them, that mom and daddy are divorcing, and they were 5 and 7 at the time. And a year went by or 2 years went by. I need to tell them because I never told them. So now they're 7 and 9. And so my youngest one, he's hilarious. I said, hey, son, I need to share with you why me and mom divorced. And I wasn't completely honest with you, and I need to give you the full truth. And he said, okay. And I said, the reason why is that I'm gay. And he looked at me, and he looked at me up and down. He goes, you're gay? And I said, yeah. He goes, so who you gay with? And I was like, well, not really anybody, but, and then the next thing out of his mouth was, so does that mean I'm going to have 3 daddies now? Meaning mom gets remarried, then I get married, and now he has 3 daddies. So he's a little mathematician, very smart. And then my other son, who was 9 at the time, I told them separately. I wanted this to be one-on-one. I didn't tell them as a family. I didn't tell them as brothers. I did it just one-on-one with our own time. And I said, if you want to talk, or do you have any questions or anything? Well, no, Dad, it's great. But and that was one thing in my therapy of coming out. It was like, it's probably best not to put that on anybody, to say, don't tell them. Because I told my mom came in. The rollout was after the boys. That my family knew. The most important people in my life knew then, but I was still scared. Don't get me wrong. But I just knew that I needed to let them know the truth. And from there, I think it would get easier. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. But I was able to, my mother is one of 5 children. Out of the 5 of hers, 2 of them are gay. And so but it's Catholic. We never talked about it. You don't talk about it. You don't discuss it. And that's the generational thing as well. And oh my God, my uncle, who was my godfather, came out gay. He was married, had 2 children. He came out gay. He knew when I was 14. He knew, and I'll tell you what. He took me to lunch, and it's a great story. He took me to lunch, and he said, "Hey, John, happy birthday." And I said, "Thanks, Uncle Jamie." I said, he goes, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" I said, "I want to come work for the family business." We had a paint manufacturing company. Our business, our family did. My grandpa did, and my uncle worked. And I said, "I want to come work for you." He goes, "No, you don't." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "John Michael, you need to get out of this town, and you need to go and find out who you really are. That's the best advice that I can give you."
At 14, he's telling you this.
He told me that. And he didn't tell me that, hey, I think you're gay. Hey, I think you need to, but he knew, because he was. And he was living a life with a married woman, and he had 2 kids. And yeah. And he shared that with me, and then he finally came out. I'd already joined the Navy and moved to California. And he came out. He was a wonderful man, and he was living with another man finally, but it was very ugly. It was very ugly with his ex-wife and everything. And he ended up committing suicide. He shot himself.
That's horrible.
And it's so sad when I think about it. But, what you're doing and what I'm doing is we're saving people, I truly believe. And I think, in a sense, he saved me. And what I regret so much now is that he's gone. And he can see the beauty that was left behind.
So he never got to meet John Michael as he is for himself today.
No.
Yeah.
But he was there. He showed love and he showed support.
Yeah. Well, and
so
we have to let's pause real quick second, because you and I know that that's not the solution, and people sometimes resort to self-harm or suicide because they feel so lost. And, reach out to a friend, reach out to a trusted person, a professional. And if they're by themselves with their phone, 988 is the National Suicide Mental Health Hotline, 988. And they can find somebody right then and there. More of my interview in just a moment. But first, I'd like to recommend a book I found insightful on my coming out journey. The book is Fashionably Late, Gay, Bi, and Trans Men Who Came Out Later in Life, edited by Vinnie Kinsella. The book is a collection of 16 narratives from individuals who navigated the complexities of coming out later in life as gay, bisexual, or transgender. In essence, their second coming of age. Through their stories, readers will find solace, inspiration, and a sense of community in their own journeys of self-discovery and acceptance. For more books and online resources about coming out later in life, visit outlatewithdavid.com. So when you came out to the family, did you have any negative repercussions from that at all?
No, I came out to my mother. Yeah, I came out to my mother, and good Catholic woman. She's like, Mom, I need to tell you the real reason that we're divorcing. And she goes, well, what? I go, I'm gay. And she said, you're gay? I said, yeah, I am. And she goes, well, honey, that's okay. Fine. I love you. You know that. And and she goes, you don't want me to tell anyone? I said, absolutely not, Mom. I'm not going to put that on you. And if you want to talk to anybody, in fact, if you need to talk to anybody to get advice or whatever, I want you to do that. And then she goes, well, I'll probably talk to Father Worth at church. And I go, well, I'm sure he's gay. He'll understand. So,
okay.
So I said, you go ahead and talk to whoever you want. I'm not going to keep any limitations. So that was the beginning of the rollout, telling friends. But there were still other people that I did not want to. I was afraid to tell, like my older brother.
Why was that? Why were you afraid to tell?
Well, he was a father figure. So if you can put yourself, if you're, very, macho type of man. I didn't know if he was going to hang up on me when I called him. So I texted him first. I said, hey, do you have 30 seconds or an hour to jump on the phone? And he goes, wait, what? Because either, 30 seconds, I'll tell him and he'll hang up. So I said, do you have 30 seconds or an hour? And he said, yeah, call me. So I called him, and he was coming back from East Texas. And he goes, listen, I'm going to be hitting a dead zone here in about 15 minutes. So if we get dropped, I'll call you back. I said, okay. He goes, well, what's going on? What's happening? I said, well, I need to talk to you. He goes, what? He goes, are you okay? I said, yeah. And I said, look, brother, I'm gay. Oh, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, I'm gay too. That's what I got from him. And I said, no, I'm serious. I'm gay. Yeah, I know. Fuck you. Oh, you don't want me to cuss on here. Sorry, but I'm quoting. He said, come on, man, that's bullshit. No, you're not gay, whatever. I said, no, I'm gay. He goes, and it went back and forth. And then the call dropped because he went through the dead zone. So he had 15 minutes, or he had 15 minutes to think about if I'm telling the truth or if I'm not. And he had to sit with that. And so 15 minutes later, my phone rings, and it's my brother. He goes, hey, are you serious? And I said, yeah, I am. He goes, hey, man, it's all good. And my brother's a warrior. He's a warrior. He's smart man, businessman, but also totally into the Navy. He served in Iraq 2 or 3 times. So he goes to the survival mode and the protection mode. So after I told him that he wanted to protect me, he goes, hey, if anybody ever gives you any shit because you're gay, he goes, I want you to get a burner phone and you call me and I'll come kick their ass. ass. So, that is him saying, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. So that was, that was the hardest and the most, that I was scared to come out to. And then I came out to my other friends and it just rolled out, more people. Then a year and a half ago, I had a big coming out party at the Abbey, and a lot of my friends, so a lot of my friends, so, you didn't put it in, but I've been an actor for 30 years. So I've done a lot of work, and I've done a lot of studying and a lot of classes, and all of my old friends from my acting days, 30 years ago, we all were in class together. I told a few of the ladies, they go, oh my God, we need to have a coming out party for you. We need to have a cotillion. And I said, okay, let's do it. So we had a big party for me at the drag queen brunch show at the Abbey. And I had 80 people that came from New York, Texas, all over. And my boys were there. My boys were there.
Sweet.
And it was awesome.
So did Dad put on a one-man show for all the 80 people in the family that showed up?
Well, I did get up and speak. I told the story about Uncle Jamie, and everybody just loved that story. And it was just so much love and support that was there because, it was open to the public, but we had reserved seating. But it was, I didn't do my one-man show, which I'm writing right now. But I got up and talked. It was great. And it was such an amazing event. And so, for people that are out there that are in the position that I was, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, it gets better.
It sounded like you had a lot of surprising, unexpected, positive responses from your mother and your brother of coming out. Did you have any negatives that really stuck with you for family, friends, business associates?
No, not at all. Not one, other than last month I was in Dallas at a convention and I ran into an old football player from high school. Nothing happened. But he was talking and I told him, I said, hey, I go, he goes, you're not married anymore. I go, no, I came out. He's like, what do you mean you came out? I go, I was gay. And he couldn't speak. He could not speak. He just looked at me and he said, you are? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh, okay. And then he goes, who, he goes, you mess around with any of the guys in football? I'm like, no. But, and it was so funny because it wasn't a negative. It was just kind of like a shock, but he didn't say anything. A lot of people were shocked. They didn't even think. They're like, what, you're gay? And there wasn't like anybody said, oh, I knew. So, it was surprising, but it's been a good journey so far.
As a life coach, I'm committed to help you discover the passions in your life and help you map a course to achieve the things you really want. Together, we will unwind those persistent self-doubts that are holding you back. You'll begin to see your passions more clearly and set achievable goals. Throughout your journey, I'll be there to challenge and encourage you in moving forward to discover your authentic self. For more information about my personal life coaching services, or to arrange a complimentary consultation, visit davidcottoncoaching.com.
You're listening to Out Late with David.
Let's jump to today. You co-host a podcast with Brian Janes, Coming Inside Out. What's the mission of that show, the purpose, and what do you do in that show for others?
A great question. I was at the Eagle in L.A., and I met this gentleman named Bob at the bar. And he was from Boston. And we were talking, and he goes, oh, you have children? I said, yeah, I do. And he goes, well, I co-founded the Gay Fathers of Boston. He goes, would you like to start Gay Fathers of LA with me? I said, hell yeah, let's do it. And so we started the Gay Fathers of Los Angeles. And so that's how I met Brian, and I met a lot of people. And we were at dinner one night. There was about, 20 of us at dinner. And we were just all talking about our stories and everything. And I said, you know what, guys, we need to do a podcast and, and just share with people our stories. Well, 3 weeks later, Brian comes to me. He goes, I want to do this. I've already came up with a name. And he, he really is passionate, and as you guys are, about getting the word out and helping people that just don't know what to do. So I'm humbled and just love doing it. And if it helps, and he runs the data and tells us how many hits we get or how many downloads we get, and it's so nice. And then we got people that write in that are in similar situations that we can't. And I even mentioned to him, I go, this doesn't have to be only about gay fathers. I mean, because I think we're helping gay fathers, and I want to continue that. But I go, there's so many other people that do need help, like other, like I think women or brothers, sisters, mothers that their kids have come out. How do they, if we can help anybody in this whole thing, I that's what the whole purpose is. But it's been, mostly gay fathers, which there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot out there.
There are.
Yeah.
So about personal, not to make it personal about John, are you seeking a relationship, or how are you doing in that dating world and engaging with all that's out there?
Boy, I tell you what. So 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds love me. I'm telling you, I've got to beat them off with a stick. And that's a nice thing to do. It's flattering. I've come close to having a relationship. I think, within the gay community, I feel that, my experience has been there's just a lot of just a lot of hookups and stuff, which is very easy to do. But to have a meaningful friendship and relationship, I have not gone there yet.
What is it you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you want? What you're seeking?
I'm seeking a companion, somebody that we can look out for each other and be best friends and love each other. Love my kids. You gotta love my kids, and if they have kids, even better. But I'm not out really seeking that at the moment. If it happens organically, it happens. I do put myself out there. I'll go places or what have you, but I'm not on the dating apps, at the moment. I'm really focused in my life right now with my children, because I had an absentee father, and I know everything. I'm such an awesome father too. I should write a book, and I will. I mean, I'll brag about myself because I didn't have that. I didn't have that relationship with my father. And listen, we're gay men, and the first male relationship we have, is our father. That's the first male relationship we have. And, being gay or straight or whatever, that's your first male relationship. And, unfortunately, mine was absent or in and out, even worse, because he would come in and out. So my focus is raising two great young men that, will be contributors to the world. And that comes first for me right now.
Well, how would you describe your happiness today, or level of happiness?
My level of happiness on a 1 to 10 is probably a 6. And I think it's because I'm not completely detached and divorced. As I said earlier, I think there's a lot that's holding me back creatively, spiritually. And, that was the other thing, too, coming out in my community here. I was known as a married realtor that had 2 kids, and that was something scary for me to come out during, because everybody knew me as a married man. That was something that I was dreading. I was dreading it, to come out to other agents that knew me as a married man. It's like they're going to judge me, or they're going to, whatever, use it against me in some way. But that didn't happen. I thought it was going to. That was something I was scared about, but it was fine.
So last question, do you have any very directed, pointed advice to give men like yourself that might be in this situation that haven't moved like you have?
Be true to yourself. Get help. Talk to other men that have gone down this road. There's websites, there's Facebook pages that you can go and you can reach out to, and I think that's the best advice. Love your children, love them because they're going to love you. They're going to love you, but try to do it in a way that don't run away from them. Mm-hmm. Now, it's going to be difficult with your wife. Absolutely, it's going to be difficult. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, because what I did was I completely traumatized her because she thought she was marrying a heterosexual man. And, there's a lot of, there was guilt for that. There was, apologies made and everything. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging, but you'll get through it. That's the best advice I can share with any man that's going through this right now, that's listening to us right now, is you're not alone. You're not alone.
I think your advice of reach out to others and resources such as your own podcast that you do, Coming Inside Out, it's a great resource. Yeah. And as we know, sharing those stories are going to help someone else in ways that we don't really appreciate it. So thanks, John, for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
That's all until next time on Out Late with David. When a man prepares to come out to his wife and kids, it's not uncommon to fear the worst. But for John, each person he told accepted him for who he is. A coming out story can unfold in many different ways. While much of the outcome can't be controlled, some of it can. John's dedication to his sons motivated him to take things slow, moving nearby so he could remain fully involved in parenting. Even now, he continues to work together with his spouse in a business that they share. John proves that with open communication, a family can find its own solutions. I encourage you to check out John's podcast, Coming Inside Out, which is available on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts. I'm David Cotton. Join us next time for Out Late with David.